All right, welcome back, everyone. It is Sunday, March 13th, 2022, and we're entering into the stress management section of our Sunday conference call.
Stress. It can make you or break you. And having and dealing with Morgellons and these skin parasites makes it so much easier to be broken. Because who do you talk to? You know, one of the most important things, and this is true of all of us, from the time we are 4 years of age or even learn how to speak, is to have somebody that we can share with and not be judged and not be ridiculed and not be criticized, but somebody that we can ground with, to know that what we are feeling and going through is normal. It's a part of growing up, and it's one big part that is missing with a lot of youngsters. They don't have people to talk to about their problems at school that are understanding. You know, we need mentors. So here we are, we got to this age, wherever we are, and along comes Morgellons. And our doctors, how much do they know about it, Robin?
Usually not much.
Mary, how much did your doctors know about Morgellons?
Nothing. They didn't know anything about anything.
Did you have anybody that you could talk to about it?
Nope.
Robin, did you have anybody you could talk to about it?
No.
No. And so here you got this pain, this agony, waking you up in the middle of the night. Can't even sleep. And nobody to talk to about it. You go to the doctor. He didn't know anything about it. You mention the word Morgellons. You get pigeonholed with a clinical diagnosis as being delusional. You know, it's easier having cancer. Hell, they can identify 1,000 different kinds of cancer and acknowledge that you've got it, and it's a disease, and they might have some kind of treatment. They got people to talk to. They got nutritional counseling. They got oncologists with different expertise. They got radiologists with expertise. They got different cancer centers with different techniques, the cyber knife and all these different techniques. And you can talk to these people, and well, at least they don't tell you you're delusional, that, you're doing it to yourself. And here we are, pigeonholed. We got nobody to talk to about it. And that's why we're here with this segment, because it is real. We know it's real. Robin and I and all the coaches and Mary, we've all suffered with it, dealt with it, and many of us have gotten our lives back through this community. And many people just simply at the end of the program share that it's so great that they found out that they're not alone. They're not alone. I'm happy to find there are other people suffering like me. Can you imagine that? Happy to find there are other people suffering like you? What a terrible thing to say, but what a grateful thing to find out. you get the dichotomy there. Oh boy. Last week, we started this segment a long time ago, and most of it's been about instructions and telling you things to do to help manage stress. And more recently, we've gotten into having you share what has stress, how it's impacted your lives and what you've done about it. Last week, I think Mary Glenn shared a very touching story about how she deals with it, because it can be depressing. I mean, if you get through skin parasites and haven't experienced significant depression, I think you're pretty damn lucky. You're probably one in a million because it infects all of us. I mean, I can't really say I was depressed when I was going through skin parasites, but what depressed me more than anything, was after I had basically gotten my life back from skin parasites and felt normal. After I had gone through antibiotics for Lyme disease that I was diagnosed as having, 6 months later, coming down with chronic Lyme disease to the point where I was in agony 24/7 and had no idea where to go and what to do about it. After I had gone through the treatment, I was really depressed. And some days the only thing that got me from 1 minute to the other, as I've shared, is I had a photograph on my dining room table of my cousin's beautiful young adopted toddler, and with a tremendous smile, and I would just look at it. That would get me through. Mary Glenn shared how she established a relationship with a squirrel outside her window. Outside, how the squirrel seems to have connected with her, and it helps her get through from 1 minute to the next. So stress is over the top with us. Robin has shared how she's gotten to the point where she's stressed out. A problem with the refrigerator sets her over the top. So we're going to open the lines, and I'd like you to share how it's impacted you and how you're dealing with it. And if you're using any of the techniques we shared last week, we went through a tapping exercise. It was very appropriate because Mary Glenn's experience was kind of like an outside experience, outside of, looking at this relationship with this external animal, a squirrel. So we used an external technique to manage stress. So who are we going to open the line up with?
Lynn, your line is open.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, thank you. Richard, you just hit the spot with all your information about no one to talk to. That was an unreal statement. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel it all the way through. What am I doing? I'm speckling diametris earth all over my floor right now. I am, but I feel better too. I'm about to open.
Humor is great. Thank you.
wait, and I'm about to open my electrostatic sprayer, but I think I'm going to spray it first. And then what do? I put cleaner enzymes with water in it. I haven't looked.
No, well, the enzymes, there's a dilution table you use from the website that tells you how many ounces of enzymes and how much water to put in to use the electrostatic sprayer. I don't remember what that is. Chris is away today. He's the enzyme expert.
Thank you. That's fine. I just I've got my gallon jug of distilled water with 2 ounces of clean them up enzymes. I use it all the time.
Okay.
Washing machine, spray it. Is that smart? I spray in the washing machine.
You spray it in the washing machine
before I put clothes in there.
Oh, you
could. You should spray it in your lint catcher for the dryer.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. And I glove up and I mask up whenever I open that lint thing.
Yeah.
Can't breathe it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just learned so much today. The bruising, I am far into this more than I realize. But I have a doctor appointment tomorrow, and that'll be helpful.
Good luck.
Right. Don't say a word with the M word.
No M word.
Wow. Thanks. I really would just, that's what you said earlier, just hit them. I didn't retain it all either. But anyway, thank you so much. And I won't bug anyone right now because I'm just bugged.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing. Keep coming back. We're here to support you and everyone. getting your life back is not easy. And I know that. Robin knows that. We've gone through the trials and tribulations. I shared, I guess about a month or so, my wife got me into eating strawberries, and typically when I get, I recognize the signs really early. It's a little tiny blip in my life, and it's over and gone. But there is no cure for these things. They're in the environment. We talked in the last segment about even libraries and books and things like that. So we're always susceptible to picking these things up. And I had with the strawberry episode, I was a little delayed in dealing with it, and it's become a bit of a problem for me. And so about maybe 4 or 5 days ago, I was pretty certain that I was through. I was done with it, and I was back on easy street again, but I still use, the skin lotion on my ankles in that area, even if I feel nothing. So, and then I got dressed the other morning, and shortly after I got dressed and going to work, I noticed activity around my ankles, and I'm thinking, where in the hell is this coming from? I thought it was over. I thought it was done. I mean, for the average person to get to this point, I can acknowledge that it's really stressful. It's really confusing. And it's like you would question, why in the hell? What's all this about? Why am I doing it? So I was going through, is it the food? Now, the good thing is I've been using the herbal parasite stop formula. And in the past, years ago when I had these episodes, I'd have to all the way back to square one with stage 1 of the diet. Well, with the parasite stop formula this time, I noticed that I could continue eating just as I was. I wasn't reacting. I wasn't having a problem. But since this activity, I was thinking, is it the diet? Is it because I should be going back further to stage 2 or stage 1? Is that the question? So you have all these questions. What was I exposed to a day or so ago? I went through the whole day with the symptoms around the ankles, and I was applying the skin lotion. Every hour or every 2 hours, I would be applying the skin lotion. And I came home, and I'm sitting there thinking, socks. I had noticed, I had taken all my socks, because that's where they localize first, is right around the ankles. And I had put my socks in a thing with ammonia and everything. But apparently there was one pair that escaped the treatment. I didn't even suspect that. There was one pair that escaped the treatment. As soon as I took those socks off, everything was normal. So the good news is I found that frequent applying of the skin lotion kept me from getting reinfected, but it didn't keep me from having the itching that went on through the day. It really kept things at bay. So taking those socks off, applying the skin lotion again, totally back to normal. So you have to be able to figure these things out. It's so easy to go down the rabbit hole of negativity and say nothing is working. I did all this, but you have to be creative. You have to step back and figure these things out. The answer is there. So who else is next?
Melanie, your line is open.
Melanie?
Okay, great. I have a couple of things that have helped me a lot. One of the things that's given me immense comfort, of course, are my cats. They're 14, and they have Morgellons. I know they do because they have the moving hairs, coming off of them, so I have to brush them quite a bit. But they have given me great comfort in this. The other thing is CBD. CBD oil has helped me a lot. I live in Oklahoma. You can have a hangnail, and that's a medical condition. So it's legal here if you want to buy a license. But basically, I don't really smoke the stuff. I just use the CBD oil, which is legal here. And it has no THC in it, but it does have the terpenes in it. So I would say that and chamomile tea. The third thing I would say that's helped me the most is that I need to basically strip and throw out and repaint and clean and do amazing things with this 100-year-old house that is in fact infested, I believe with columbine or who knows, with the leaky windows and assorted problems. So what I figured out to do is that I get really stressed because everywhere I look, there's a wall to clean, there's a floor to mop, there's, some kind of home repair thing, and it's absolutely overwhelming. And I've just learned to accept that, it's going to take a long time to try to remedy my house while I try to get out of it. And so I've learned that I'm just going to accept that what I can do in a day is all I can do in a day. And to learn to accept that instead of just being in a constant state of anxiety about the things that there's not possibly enough time or energy to do.
That's very good because, like I've always said, it's good to repeat to yourself when you're in a situation like this, I'll get there when I get there and not a minute before, and I'll get done when I get done and not a thing more.
Yes, and there's a certain amount of franticness that comes with this. I actually believe that I've had scabies for about 10 years, and or springtails. I'm not sure which. It's hard to say, but I mean, basically, my head literally swelled to twice its size. I could not put my finger behind my ears, and because I was labeled as DOP, every dermatologist I went to parted my hair and said, "You have a healthy scalp," and wrote me up as DOP. So I'm not able to get treatment. Fortunately, a girl that I went to school with is a PA, and she did offer me ivermectin, and she offered me permethrin cream, and I didn't want to take that, but I did, and I'm actually quite glad I did because I was going to die, and they were going to let me die, not a miserable death. And I've actually gotten a whole lot of it off, but I'm perfectly aware that it's not just a massive situation in my head. I'm certain it's systemic, and I know it's in my house. So
well, indeed it's systemic, and indeed it's in your house. And the areas to look in your house are generally where there's moisture accumulation, where there may be leaks, where piping may be leaking, stuff like that. Mold.
And I live in a 100-year-old house, so there have been many leaks, and I'm sure behind these walls is an amazing amount of black mold, and it's bad. Yeah, very bad. But I can't move, so I have to just deal with what I have to deal with,
Right. So you'll get done what you get done, not a thing more. And I mean, the electrostatic sprayer makes the basic disinfection so much faster. Some gentleman wrote me and that he's got cathedral ceilings, which they're pretty high. You're not going to hit it with
I have the high ceilings too, and they're all over the ceilings. I feel them drop down.
Yeah, so that's where you definitely need an electrostatic sprayer. We do happen to have a couple of electrostatic sprayers in the office that will shoot further than the typical one. The typical one only is going to go about 2.5 or 3 feet, so that'll go 8 feet up to you, but it's not going to hit a cathedral ceiling. Anyway, so stress.
Yeah, I'm afraid right now that's kind of priced out of my league, so I'm trying to figure out an alternative way to do that. Basically, I've probably given doctors and dermatologists pretty much my life savings, probably about $30,000 in the last 10 years, and I've probably spent $20,000 on every supplement known to man. And at this point, I'm basically have been completely moneyed out. So I'm not able to afford the electrostatic sprayer. I have to come up with another idea.
Yeah, that's another thing, the financial stress, because there are so many people that, because of these organisms not being recognized by the doctors and instead getting ridiculed when you go there, they've lost their careers. The 6-figure incomes that they had are gone, and they're living in an automobile. It is real. It's devastating. And there are people that have gone to the point that rather than deal with it any longer, they've taken their lives, which it's so unfortunate. Now, you mentioned about your scalp. I don't know how long you've been in our program, but if you go back, every week you get an update from me that has probably about Thursday or maybe Friday of this coming week, you're going to get an email that has this program's links to YouTube. So you'll be able to go to YouTube and you can see this week's, what we're videotaping now. And it will have a list of all the questions that were asked and all the subjects that were discussed. Now, frequently, we talk about how to clean the scalp. The scalp is a challenge for most people, and we do have a very precise protocol to get them totally out of your scalp. So you can scroll down and you can look at every video that's ever been recorded and available on YouTube. You can find the video that talks about scalp, and there have been probably at least a half a dozen of them, and you can go to any of those videos and get our protocol for getting them out of your scalp.
I will tell you one thing. I'm really lucky to be alive because my head literally, at twice its size, the doctors were still hurting my hair and writing me up as DOP because the initial people did this to me 10 years ago. And I'm literally lucky to be alive. My sister doesn't understand why my hair, which grows about an inch a year, is suddenly 4 inches longer. That's how much I took off the back of my scalp. So we're talking close to death here with absolutely only a friend with a PA, giving me a few tools. And, of course, all the other things I've learned. I basically was near death, and I'm totally serious about this.
Do you get support from your sisters in understanding what you're going through?
I have many siblings, and I have one sibling who does believe me, and she's been convinced it was meiosis from the very beginning. I have one brother who believes me but knows nothing about even basic diet. And the other siblings, unfortunately, they're nurses, PAs, and psychologists. And I know, even though they don't know that they talk and are pretty sure I'm crazy and don't believe me, which is very, very sad to me. They have absolutely no idea what I've been through.
Yeah, no empathy, no understanding.
It's terrible that my own siblings suspect I might be mad.
Yeah, it's the stress of these diseases is just over the top. If you had cancer, they would all understand. They would all be at your bedside or your door. They would all be on the telephone with you. They would all be looking for the best support, medical support for you. But instead, because of Morgellons not being acknowledged, they talk about you. They think, you don't have their support. You don't have somebody to talk to. That's the ravages. The ravages of Morgellons goes beyond the lesions.
It totally has done irreparable psychological damage. But another thing that is so bizarre is single-handedly, I've managed to become a professor and buy my own home. Obviously, I'm not inept, incompetent in any way. So how could I suddenly have become delusional or mentally ill? How even my brother, the psychologist, can rationalize that one, I do not understand.
I don't either. So, well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming back, and keep coming back. We're here to support you. We know it's not an easy path, but Robin, Mary, Ethel, Megan, Nick, Chris, and many others know that you can get your life back because we've done it.
How you doing, Rich?
Hey, good.
I mean, I could say stress alone for me almost killed me in the beginning. I mean, running down rabbit holes, trying to find an answer, quick answer. I mean, it was very traumatic. I mean, for me to experience this, and it's just like my family, like that woman was saying, are not supportive at all. The only call I get is on here every Sunday where other people share their experiences, with this ailment. It's just sad that, you go to if I went to a dermatologist one time and he told me, well, his answer was, you're not the only one that has this. that really,
Right.
Hey, you're not the only one that's got cancer.
Yeah.
that kind of pissed me off as being a doctor.
Go to some clinic in Mexico, right?
Yeah, that was the answer. I don't know what to tell you. I don't tell you, but you're not the acid.
Well, how much did one of those rabbit holes you went down cost you? What, about $10,000 or so? Did you share?
Yeah, I went to a very famous healer. That's but he tried. His mentality was there. It's just that he didn't experience it, so I was wasting my time. You're wasting your time if you go to a healer. Plus, those supplements he gives you, like you said, can make it worse.
Right.
Absolutely.
If he doesn't understand what's going on, how's he gonna fix you or me?
Yeah. They from our ivory towers looking at it through a microscope thinking they can fix it. Yeah. And what was your relationship like? Did you have family support, Nick?
In the beginning, yes. Robin was very gracious on trying to. My mother was, convinced that that this is it, that I do have something. And then after that, talking to other people or talking to my brother, my brother says, "Oh, they're a bunch of quacks." But he doesn't know. He's an attorney. What does he know? He's an ex-attorney. Right. What does he know? What does he know about? That's his mentality. That's his mentality. You're like, because it didn't happen to him. But if it happened to him, then it would be a different story. But until you experience this, you have to experience this to understand, and then go to this program. Hopefully, there's a poor soul out there that probably doesn't know about this program. That's probably definitely suffering. There's definitely people committing suicide over this. Oh, I know that. There's nobody going to tell me no. Because I remember there was a time in 1994 when I had it, there was nothing. I mean, I used to drive around the car at night trying to go to a 24-hour drugstore to find, so I can get some closure or something to put something on me so I can get maybe I can get an hour of sleep if I was lucky,
Right.
Yep. Over the top stress. Wow. Well, thank you for Nick for sharing, and thanks for being part of our group here. Thank you. Keep coming back.
No problem. Thank you.
It's great to have somebody. Yeah, I can understand people with limited exposure to what Robin and I do, thinking that we're quacks. I mean, the chance of finding somebody real. What is the chance, Robin? What is the chance? You've been with me. We know what this is about. And you've been on the internet and you've been looking. What is the chance of finding somebody that really knows anything about this in this lifetime? What's the chance? What percent?
Very slim. Very slim.
10%?
No, not even. I don't think. I think it's like 1%.
All right. Yeah. Mary, what do you think?
I agree. I think it's like 1%.
God, so I can understand people saying, "Oh, that guy's got to be a quack," because there's nothing, and nothing works.
And there's so much, our culture has become very polarized, and it's become a culture of distrust. I'm not being political about anything. I'm just saying people tend to assume the worst about other people. In the past couple of years.
Well,
so
oftentimes.
When someone has what they consider an imaginary disease, and then they tell you their siblings or their family that someone else is helping them, the family's go-to reaction is they're a quack and they're out to steal your money.
And, oftentimes that's true, because there are so many people who have dumped thousands. I mean, someone, I don't remember her name, but she said she dumped $30,000 at least and got nowhere. So
right.
The likelihood of finding someone such as a program like this that really produces results is really in the basement. That's the likelihood. But we're here.
Right. That's true.
It's depressing. It is depressing. So we love you all, and we're genuine. We do it. And we've suffered. We know what it's about. And that's why we're here, because we know it's not easy. So who's next?
I don't have anyone else, but I'd like to share.
Okay.
I'd like to share. So just lately, yesterday, I don't usually share personal things, but yesterday I got a letter from my home insurance company telling me they're canceling my insurance.
Oh, God.
Nothing I could do about it. It's the weekend, because on top of Morgellons, fleas, mites, and springtails, I have had, I had a car drive into my house. I had the wind blow the roof off my house. I had a massive puffback event in my home. And they decided I'm too high a risk and they're not going to insure me. And this happened yesterday. So the stress, the anxiety, I couldn't think straight for like half a day. I was so stressed out. And I have this app on my Alexa thing, and it's called My Daily Mindset. And every day it gives you an affirmation. And yesterday it said, today we're going to be grateful. And we're going to say, I'm grateful that everything that came before brought me to where I am today, and I'm grateful for it. And so I walked around the house saying that, and at first I did not believe it at all. But I was like, yeah, not really. I'm not grateful. I'm really upset. But you know what? I grew more grateful. And the other thing was that brought me to, I have deep faith, and it's real easy to forget. There's a song, a gospel song that I love called You Didn't Bring Us This Far to Leave Us. And all that I've been through, my God has been faithful to me. And he has solutions, whether it's my refrigerator dying or my insurance company bailing. God has a solution. I will figure it out. And I'm grateful that I'm where I am, because I would never be helping people if I hadn't been through all this awful stuff. So I just wanted to share that gratitude and hope and faith have been, and deep breathing.
Yeah. You were doing a lot of deep breathing?
Doing a lot of deep breathing yesterday.
Did you do any tapping?
No, I didn't do tapping. I was walking around my house deep breathing.
Deep breathing was a go-to technique. Well, I wish you the best on the solution to that. I'm sure there's another, there are dozens of insurance companies that insure. They'll drop you for any little thing. If you have mold growing on your roof, the green fungus growing on your roof, they'll drop you.
Right.
Sometimes
hopefully I can find someone who'll pick me up without costing an arm and a leg.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
And I can smile today. Stress is not forever.
Yes, it sometimes seems it will be, and there's an end, and it's unpredictable. You don't know what. Tomorrow you might get an offer for somebody who wants to buy your house for $2 million. Who knows? Just out of the blue.
Right.
Who knows? Right. And you don't know. So you can't predict the future, but stick with it, your creativity, because that's what this is all about. When you're stressed out, your creativity is in the bottom of the pit. Zero. It's gone. Because you're into gloom and doom. We all get there. I know. The only reason I can talk about it is because I've been there. I know what gloom and doom is. We all go through it. And by going through it means that somehow we got it down, that creativity surfaced and solutions came. Answers came. and some are unexpected, but there's always a possibility, which is silly to jump off the bridge when that possibility may pop up 10 minutes from now. You know, you don't know. You can't predict.
That's right.
So what stress management technique shall we use today? Do you have a song for us?
I do have a song if you'd like a song, or we could do
I'd love a
breathing.
song.
Okay.
Can I quickly tell you can I quickly say myself, you guys just calmed me down so much with the last 5 minutes. I feel like I'm done tapping. I just want to commend you two and thank you. You're the most, I mean, literally, you are the most special people that you could ever be. I mean, it's crazy to know that you're doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lynn.
It's unreal. You're unreal. Both of you, to put this out here, I can't believe it. I mean, it's unreal. You, Richard, I don't know how you could have been that tenacious to keep and let the people know about this. Thank you. That's it. I don't want to go ranting and raving because I love you.
My head is swelling.
No, don't let it swell. Don't let it. I've been in that woman's predicament with my face swelling up. It's crazy. But anyway, I'm going to spray my sprayer, and I'm going to use it today. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, we love you. Keep coming back.
Oh, I love you more than you love me. All right, do your song. Let's dance. Come on.
Yeah, there's only really one reason why I can't speak for Robin, but I think why Robin, I know why I'm here, and that is because we get results. And the results we get are that people get their lives back. And the goal is always that at some point you'll say, because of you guys, I hung in there, I did it, and I got my life back. Thank you, guys. And I appreciate your acknowledgement of our being here for you. Because, you know, when I went through it, there was nobody to talk to. There was nobody to ground with. The only person that I found was around 2006 who I thought had some knowledge of this, and he was going around telling everybody there is no thing as Morgellons. It's Strongyloides cervicalis. That's what everybody's got. Everybody's got Strongyloides cervicalis, and his diet has soy on it. You know, well, with Strongyloides you can have soy. You know, it's okay, but. And then he ended up selling some kind of thing, $1,600 for his packet of, but it was Strongyloides. So everybody's got this in their mindset. It's not Morgellons, it's something else. It's not Morgellons, it's Lyme disease. It's not Morgellons, so, well, anyway, thank you. Keep coming back. We love you all. And Robin's got a song for us.
Thank you, Robin.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay. This is a little gospel tune by Reverend Gary Davis. It's an old Piedmont. Run through the streets of the city where my Lord has come before. I'm gonna sit down by the banks of the river and know I won't be back no more. We're gonna have a good time when we get there. I'm gonna sit down by my Savior's side. I'm gonna sit down by the banks of the river and know I won't be back no more. I'll be where I got peace forever when I reach out of the bright shore. I'm gonna sit down by the banks of the river and know I won't be back no more.
What kind of thank you. What instrument was that?
Guitar.
Just plain, not electric?
Just plain guitar.
Really? Wow. You zapped it. I'll tell you. I'm so happy that you're in the world because thank you. I wish I could do what you're doing with this. Wow. Have you played music all your life?
A big part of it, yeah. Well,
okay.
I mean, that's how I make my living when I'm a musician, so yeah, and that's
All right, thank you. I see.
Yeah.
I love you. I love you guys.
Love you too.
Oh.
Thanks.